everybody, Caitlin from the Hawk at Home here, and we are back with more of our sourdough series. And so today I am going to show you step by step how I discard and how I feed my sourdough starter. So I have had my sourdough starter for 3 years now, and so I started sourdough 3 years ago. I made a starter myself and then just taught myself along the way, and now I'm excited to share all of this info with you. So first things first, my sourdough starter I store in this jar, as you can see here with this lid, because it's easy for me to access my starter that way. Now, they have some very expensive jars online specifically for sourdough starters. I did not buy one of those. I got this at Target for $10. I suggest you do the same. It's just more economical and it does all the same things. It's a glass jar. You definitely want glass. And then I always cover my starter with a piece of plastic for 2 reasons. One, I feel like it holds the heat in better. Our house has a tendency to be colder in the winter. This seems to help it for me. And number 2, if my starter ever bubbles up really high, cleanup is so much easier. So I love doing that. I suggest it if you choose to. Now, a couple more things to know about your sourdough starter. One is you should be feeding your starter once a day. That's gonna keep it healthy. That's gonna keep it from getting a weird smell. So you wanna feed it once every single day. You wanna discard the 4 ounces or about half to 3/4 of a cup and then add 4 ounces of water, 4 ounces weight of flour, or about 7/8 of a cup. You wanna do that every single day. If you are not going to do that because you're either gonna go on vacation or you just wanna make sourdough once a week, after you feed your starter, when it looks like this, you wanna take it and put it in the refrigerator. You can leave it there for up to 2 weeks and it'll be great. And then you bring it out, you let it come to room temperature, and if it rises, you can use that fully and make sourdough. If it doesn't rise, discard that, feed it, and then it will rise the next time and you'll be ready to make sourdough. So just know that you can choose to feed it every day if you wanna utilize it every day, or you can choose to put it in the fridge, whether it's for vacation, for needing a break from sourdough, for having a freezer full of sourdough so you don't need any more right now. There's so many different options to make it easy and fit into your lifestyle. So first things first, I fed my starter last night. As you can see, it still has a little bit of a rise here. So it actually rose up to about here. It still has a little bit right here. The rubber band is where it started. And so I'm gonna take a wooden spoon and I'm gonna stir it down so that the bubbles are all stirred down. So you just wanna do that before you discard. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour out about half of my sourdough starter to get rid of. And so when you get rid of this starter, you can either save it and use it for another recipe, or you can throw it away, or you can even gift it to a friend so that they can start their sourdough journey as well. So you wanna get rid of about half of it. So for me, that's about half to 3/4 of a cup. You can see it right there. And you can see what's left down here. Now, if you wanna weigh it out, you wanna weigh out about 4 ounces. So 4 ounces of starter. Then I'm gonna scrape down the sides to get all that extra down, as you can see here. And then next, what I am going to do is I am going to feed my starter. All right, so I feed my starter 4 ounces of water and 4 ounces weighed of flour. So I'm gonna show you both ways that I do it. So first off, I have 4 ounces of water measured out, as you can see here, and you can use filtered water or unfiltered, just use clean water. I know people have debate on this in sourdough world. I've used water from my sink for my sourdough starter for 3 years. It hasn't failed me yet. Then next, what you can do is you wanna take your measuring cup, you wanna measure it on the scale first, and then you wanna tare it so that way it goes back to 0. And then you're gonna measure out 4 ounces of flour. Now, I'm gonna show you my little trick. As you can see here, 4 ounces is almost 1 cup of flour. I would say this is about 7/8 of a cup. So typically, I do not weigh my my flour anymore for my starter. I just measure out about 7/8 of a cup and then I add it in. So that way, if you don't have a scale, You can just do that. Just do 4 ounces of water and about 7/8 cup of flour. It's called a scant cup is the fancy baking term. So you can do that. So then we're gonna add that in, as you can see. And then we're gonna take our wooden spoon and we're just gonna stir it all together until it's well mixed. So you want it to be very goopy, but not dry. So if you see any flour parts, you wanna keep mixing a little bit more. Now, if you have mixed and mixed and mixed and you're still seeing a little bit of flour, add about a tablespoon of water. If you're mixing and it's very liquidy and wet, add a couple tablespoons of flour. You want that goopy consistency, otherwise it's not gonna rise and you're not gonna be able to make great sourdough with it. So that is what you want to do. So I'm just gonna keep stirring here for a minute. All right, so here is my super goopy consistency. Look at that. Okay, so that's what we want it to look like. It may be a little thinner than that, but you don't want it super watery because that will just cause you problems. Then what I do is I just take a spatula and I just scrape down the sides a bit. That way I can see where it's rising. And then you want to take a rubber band and you want to mark the outside of it because you want to use your starter for sourdough when it has doubled. That means it has gone up over it one whole time, over that rubber band. So then we're going to put our plastic wrap over it. And if you have a warm spot for it, that is best. I found the top of the refrigerator works best for me. That is just a very warm spot within my home and a great place to store my starter. So your starter is now ready. It should rise if you have a healthy starter in anywhere from 5 to 7 hours. That's what mine is. I know a lot of people online will tell you it has to be 5 hours or you're not doing it right. Pish posh. No, we're not doing that. So anywhere 5 to 7 hours, leave it to rise. Once it has doubled, you can use that to make sourdough. And then you'll be ready for our next video where I'm gonna actually show you step by step how I make my sourdough, how I started with it, and what I did to get going. And so I hope you guys like this video. I hope that you will subscribe and follow along and let me help you along your sourdough journey and that your starter will be ready to go for our next video. Have a great day.